The white man's burden, so lightly picked up, was not so easily laid down. And President McKinley had a vision. One night, late, it came to me this way, that we could not leave the Filipinos to themselves. They were unfit for self-government, and they would soon have anarchy and misrule over there worse than Spain's was. There was nothing left for us to do but to take them all and civilize and Christianize them. And then I went to bed and went to sleep and slept soundly, without consultation with the Filipinos. McKinley signed a peace treaty with Spain. For the sum of $20 million, Philippine Islands were ceded to the United States. It seemed too good a chance for the Americans to show they were as good as the European powers at the territorial game. The Philippines made a splendid stepping stone to China, which was just being opened up as a huge market for the European imperialist powers. And some Americans feared that if they did not grab the Philippines, the Japanese or the Germans would. Andrew Carnegie, the multimillionaire philanthropist, prophesied that American men who had enlisted to fight the oppressor in the Philippines would end up shooting down the oppressed. 2 days before the Senate was to vote on annexing the Philippines, with opposition very strong, there was a shooting incident between American troops and the Filipino Liberation Forces. On the first day of the fighting, the Americans lost 250 men, and the Filipino losses were estimated at over 4,000. Thus, in one day, more men were killed and wounded than in the entire Spanish-American War. The Americans claimed the Filipinos had fired first. Reacting to this aggression, the Senate voted for annexation of the Philippines, and so began a savage jungle war in an Asian territory thousands of miles from the American mainland. A war that committed 120,000 American fighting men against a people motivated by nationalism and anti-colonialism. A war that was rabidly racist, a war that lasted over a decade and strained the American conscience to the limit. Uncle Sam claimed that it was his destiny to teach democracy to other races. He neglected to say how long the lesson would take. President McKinley stated as his aims the speedy suppression of the rebellion, the establishment of peace and tranquility, and a government under the undisputed sovereignty of the United States. Troops were poured into the island. The Spanish had called the Filipino patriots insurrectos, rebels against authority. The Americans kept the name. It made it easier to shoot them. For this exploit, which he never in fact performed, Funston became a war hero for a people tired of peace. Confronted by superior American firepower, the Gatling gun, artillery, and the repeating rifle, the Filipinos turned to hit-and-run guerrilla war tactics. There were few major battles, and in the newspapers the progress of the war was recorded in terms of body counts. But the war did not end with the rising death toll among Filipinos. The officer commanding in the Philippines, General Otis, assured the American nation that he would suppress the rebellion within a few weeks. Every month, he repeated this assurance. Every month, he reported spectacular victories. Every month, General Otis asked for more troops. The American troops had to pursue the enemy into a tropical jungle was strange to them. They had to build roads through the jungle. And where that was not possible, they had to wade the rivers. They were subject to sudden ambushes, and they watched their comrades die.